I've definitely had a very elaborate career path and twists and turns and changes. I'm in my 30s and I've lost count of how many jobs or different things I've done.
She's been a chicken sexer, she's been a school teacher, she's tried pole vaulting. She had to go at Miss Showgirl as well, her beauty pageants, Mrs Australia.
Yeah, there's not much Leila can't do. Fashion designer, mother, farmer, and now filmmaker.
To do anything like this, I think you have to start out naive, pretty naive. Yeah, had I known some of the challenges I'd come up against, I probably wouldn't have started.
Oh, what are you doing? Get out, get out. No, you're not.
I'm feeding the cattle.
Get out.
I lived here my whole life. I know what I'm doing.
No, you're drunk. You can't drive. Get out.
Thousands of others have tried and failed to make films. The odds of someone who's not an actor or a writer getting a feature film off the ground are 1 in 7 trillion. It's mad.
There were so many things that could go wrong. It takes a particular kind of person to pull this kind of initiative off, and that person is called Leila McDougall.
At times throughout filming, I was scared. I thought, no, I can't do this. I can't handle all of this pressure. But I couldn't afford to let it fail.
Ow! I think there's a huge amount at stake for her. She's put a lot on the line. The finances, the family. She's put a lot on the line.
When people say we're crazy, I guess we've got one chance at this life and we want to make a difference.
There's something in me that just, I had to tell this story. I have to make this movie and I will do anything to make it and get it to work.
How are you?
I don't know.
No, of course you don't. It's a hard journey and no one knows how to navigate it.
I guess you could say I'm quite relentless, definitely very single-minded in pursuing a goal. But, you know, I've had people say I'm dumb in the past, and it's still a thing now I feel dumb sometimes, and I've constantly got to prove that I'm not. I grew up in Walker, which is a little country town in the New England area of New South Wales. School for me was not easy. All my life I've just struggled with numbers and letters. I don't see a full word, I see letters, and then I have to try and work out what each letter is and then somehow work out how they go together to make a word. It was humiliating to think, I'm in Year 9 and I can't read and write. And it was always so embarrassing to think, all the other kids can and I can't. Why? My parents were told that I was simple and I'd probably always be that way. So it wasn't until I was in Year 9 at a new school that I was finally diagnosed with dyslexia, and then, you know, was back to kindergarten and learning how to read and write.
Once we realised that she had this dyslexic problem, they worked out how to deal with it, and she jumped in leaps and bounds. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
So you want me to pop on her? Yeah. Growing up with Leila, she definitely tried to avoid speaking in public or being in front of an audience. She was really quite reserved and shy.
Do you want them brushed out? Yeah, we'll give them a brush.
I was almost crippling shy. I couldn't talk. I'd just, you know, sit and listen. If there was any reason for me to have to get up in front of an audience, I would avoid it like the plague.
When I first came across Leila, she was probably about 15. She was very withdrawn, but behind that quiet, shy exterior, I always knew that it was a very intelligent girl waiting to bust out. Leila was a very talented seamstress and designer. She made things that were simple, elegant. And when she was in Year 12, she entered the secondary school section of the Australian World Fashion Awards. When she won the award and her name was announced, she was very happy, but she was just terrified, dying a thousand deaths, that she actually had to walk onto the stage and receive her award.
Everyone was looking at me and I just froze and didn't say anything. We get to a point in life where you think, I'm really not going to get anywhere in life if I stay like this. Life's not going to be that great.
I did want to help her. When you see somebody really shy like that, you know that you can actually make an impact and help them along their journey.
Liz used to run some workshops for girls on, you could almost say they were like deportment school, to help with confidence and how to present yourself in public.
Leila coming out of her shell was almost like the butterfly emerging from the cocoon. It was just a delight to see her light up.
And I thought, oh God, if I can get up and walk around and talk in front of people, then I should be able to do anything.
It was gratifying to see someone change to that extent, and it became a pattern that the more she was frightened of something, the more she wanted to take it on and run at it head on.
Now 6 new farmers from the country's loneliest corners are out to find the one, once and for all.
A funny thing happened that, my best friend Ash signed me up for a reality TV show called Farmer Wants a Wife without me knowing.
Because she was always like, I don't think I'm ever going to be lucky in love. It was just a playful joke between her and I guess, and it was just, I didn't know if she'd ever actually go through with it, even if she did get in.
And I get this phone call saying, you've made it into the final 10 of Farmer Wants a Wife. My dad said he'd disown me if I did do it. He was just mortified at the fact that I could possibly go on such a ridiculous show.
But in the end, she backed herself. She went, no, let's do it. What have I got to lose with this?
But maybe school teacher Leila will give our curious farmer a lesson in finding love.
How you going?
Good, how are you?
Sit down, Leila.
It wasn't an easy thing for her to put herself onto the show and be vulnerable.
Here we go, questions.
This question answer time.
I found it quite interesting that she actually was brave enough to do that, and that's when I realised that my mission had been accomplished.
Obviously you've got to build a friendship with someone first. Hang out with them. Hopefully that friend could become something more. But
she ended up being one of the 3 that got selected to go back to the farm, and in the end he did select her to be his farmer wife.
So Leila, was it a huge shock that Devon chose you?
I was a little bit shocked, but I had kind of feelings that he was going to pick me, but I didn't want to get my hopes up about anything.
But that wasn't a real romance. It was all staged. And then, another funny thing happened where the very next day after we finished the final day of filming, and I was introduced to a handsome young man, and he was an actual farmer, and it was Sean.
I guess Leila and I just hit it off. We had that connection that felt like it was going to be the one. We'd come home, back to the family farm, and got engaged and married relatively quickly.
And he's just so supportive and never judges anyone. To meet someone that doesn't judge you, it was very unusual for me because I'm quite full on, which can scare people away a lot. And he wasn't scared at all, which was unusual.
Our farm here at Maroona and Tadioon is 3,000 acres. I'm the 6th generation of our family farming the lands.
And now we've got 2 children, Vincent and Vivian, and yeah, we've got our little happy farming family.
Here, Chook. Here, girls. Here you go.
In the community that we were living in, we started noticing that mental health was quite severe. We started experiencing and losing people within our community to suicide. I started seeing patterns that were the same as what my father went through of mental health issues when I was growing up.
I used to drink too much when I was younger. I felt like I had the blues all the time, and so I thought, geez, I'd better go and get help. So I got on medication. I'm not allowed to drink alcohol, and I reckon I'm 98% right. No, I've never looked back.
Dad having bipolar, in some ways it was a good thing because Dad was quite open about talking about, you know, your mental health and to really look after your brain and what's going on in it. So I've been on medication since I was 20 for depression and anxiety. It's sort of lucky that I had a dad that could talk to me because he said there's nothing embarrassing about being on medication and there's nothing wrong with it.
Leila's mum attempted suicide and my uncle, he died by suicide, so I guess that was kind of a driving factor behind us.
You start asking the question, why? Why is this happening? You know, how can we fix this problem? How can we stop it?
When someone does die by suicide, we don't talk about it. Like, it's still a taboo subject. If we can create a better environment that we can talk about it, maybe that might help save someone's life.
So we started running Mellow in the Yellow, a big lunch party in the middle of a canola crop. The goal of the event is to start conversation around mental health, and the idea worked. The first year we had about 90 people come, but as the event's progressed over the last 10 years, it's become quite successful, raises quite a lot of money, and we sell out at 300 people every year now.
Do you two want a cup of tea? Is anyone listening to me?
So when you start an event, you need to publicise it to get people to know that the event's on and to get your sponsors publicity. So a friend said to me, oh, these women that do these, you know, Mrs. Australia competitions, they get heaps of publicity. Maybe you should have a go at that.
Leila's never been a glam girl, ever, as we grew up. She was a complete tomboy. And she felt uncomfortable going to the ultimate glam pageant. The hair, the fake tan, everything, ball gowns. But she did it, yeah, and she pushed herself. It was just another example of her drive and her willingness to not let anything stop her.
Obviously, I was advocating for farmers and rural mental health. When I won, heaven forbid, which was quite a shock, it opened a lot of doors for me to get guest speaking positions.
G'day, I'm Leila and welcome to my journey as Mrs. Australia International 2017.
I got to go to America and compete as the Mrs. Australia, which was an experience. I did not win Mrs. International in America. I was definitely not as poised as my competitors. Yeah, but and I was much shorter. And nonetheless, it was a great experience.
Hello, Angela.
Hey.
Good.
Hello.
How are you? Good.
I've just gone back teaching for a little bit, and I just felt like there was something not right. I didn't feel 100% all the time. So I thought, oh, I'll go to the doctor and get a checkup. And I had cervical cancer that was quite far down the track, which, you know, was a little bit scary.
Yeah, no, they've been great. Thank you.
My gynecologist said if, you know, this was a month or 2 months down the track, you'd probably be terminal.
Not just yet.
And that was a very confronting thought that, like, I've got cancer. My kids are so little. What if I die? You know, they're never going to remember me. I had the surgery and it all seemed fine. They got everything. And after I got through all of that, I started to think, yeah, life's very fragile and it's fleeting. We're only here for this amount of time, so why not, you know, have a real crack? So I've got to really use my life to make a difference. What can we watch tonight?
Rihanna van On?
COVID hit us all in 2020. We were stuck at home and I noticed the one thing that we were doing was sitting on our couches watching television. There's nothing about farming. So that's where sort of the little epiphany came in, that what is a way that we could spread the message of mental health in farming communities and potentially reach a wider audience, and what better way to do that than through entertaining people with a movie.
Sounds good.
Really? Growing up, films were my way of learning about the world and learning about different cultures and experiencing humanity, because I couldn't read books.
I don't think Leila knew a lot about making a film. I know I didn't.
My closest thing to being on a film set was Farmer Wants a Wife. I had no experience in script writing. I'd had no experience in acting, no money, no actors, nothing. So it was just an idea and just sort of grew from there. So then I thought, to help me understand how to write a script or learn about this film world, I'd go and do a few acting classes. I just made up a resume saying I'd, you know, done all these courses and sent it in, and somehow they passed it and let me in.
So the acting course that I teach at Brave is designed ultimately for professionals. Most of the ones that come in have had either experience on screen or they've done some pretty sort of extensive training. I know some of you, but other people don't know you, obviously. And I just want to get a sense of what training you've done. And I got to Leila and I said, so, you know, what experience have you had? And she said, none.
I'm a farmer.
And I stopped like that and I was like, what? I have no idea how you actually blagged your way in here, but whatever you did is obviously akin to the skills you need to bullshit your way through a scene.
So I had to get up and do a scene. Well, we all had to get up and do the same scene. And I'd like to thank you for carefully selecting me as your maid of honour. I know you had some other choices, but you're like my sister, and I love you.
And she literally, I mean, she blew me away because she was so authentic, and the work was just present. And that's the best sort of work. It's disarming.
I really wanted to write the script because it was going to save me money and be written by someone who knew what the life was like. So I had an idea in my head about what I wanted the story to be about. The key character in this story is a wife that had lost a husband to suicide and then has to manage the farm, to manage the kids, to manage the finances, to manage a, alcoholic father-in-law.
During Leila's writing process of the script, she would immerse herself into the character. She'd sent me a few videos of where she'd written and recorded herself where she was genuinely distraught.
Why didn't he talk to me? Why did I not see his pain? I hate you so much for leaving me.
I took the script to a number of different studios and production companies and government organisations, and I just, knockback after knockback. So I thought, if no one else is going to make it, then I'm going to do it.
The hardest thing's been finding the money to fund the movie. Our sales, we've put in around 500,000. I guess it's a way of having some skin in the game and believing in the message, and if we can't back ourselves, who else will?
It is a big gamble, yeah, it definitely is, and it probably would make a lot of people uncomfortable. But if this film makes a difference and Sean and I can save one life, then what's $500,000?
This is water, okay? As long as we can use this water somewhere, that's our body of water, I'll be happy.
So the next thing was to find a director. So I met Simon Lyndon while working on a short film, and we really bonded.
Let's have a look down there.
So I asked Simon to direct the film.
Right across the water, down low, and we can get a beautiful wide there and set up the ute in front of the windmill.
Simon's a great actor. He's won an AFI. He's directed a few short films and he's written a few scripts.
And then we've got fire and water and sky and earth. And we've made a Terrence Malick film.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I connected so much with this film is because I had been having some pretty severe personal mental health struggles of my own. I understand what the farmer character was going through, quietly wanting to take his own life. I'm what's known as a recovering addict. I had an opiate addiction for 3 years, from the age of 27 to 30. I played a character in a movie who was a heroin addict. And you try it to work out how to play him, and the next thing you know, you've got a habit, and it's hell. How much you use them? You know, I got a handle on it. It's. I didn't think I'd be alive if Hugh Jackman hadn't have, you know, basically paid for me to go to rehab and help me out when I was pretty much living on the streets. And we became really close friends, as you do in drama school. And he put his heart and soul into helping me get well.
We've never questioned each other in the way, like we've had our little tiffs along the way where we were, but where we just sort of, we always come out the other side. We're still here.
It felt important to me very early on to be really upfront about the good, bad and the ugly in my own life. I can tell. And so I just told her pretty much everything. She looked at me and, you know, she said, I trust you, you know. We're gonna have you here.
Yep. Simon and I probably are an odd match together to make a feature film together because he's never directed a feature film and I've never produced a feature film.
Squatting or sitting?
Yep. We definitely took a leap of faith with one another.
I don't think in her head she was ever going to be the lead role in it. And I remember the phone call, her telling me that. I was like, holy dooly, you ready?
I was really scared to do it because I didn't want to let the women I was representing down by being a bad actress. Simon was like, no, you're doing it. You don't have a choice in the matter, you're doing it. Plus, we don't have the money to get an actress.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
She was always going to play Alison. She had the character, she had the strength, she had the screen presence. She was dead set Alison from word go. So finally we did kick off. We started shooting. It was a 6-week shoot.
It was definitely surreal to see over 50, 60 people there on the farm each day.
And it wasn't perfect every day on set. There were days where she was clearly a beginner. It might not be great first take, but we'd always get it by the end. She blazed it. Once she got into a rhythm, she really blazed it.
You've had a stroke.
Huh.
What? You're a shit. You're an asshole. You scared me.
There was a point towards the end of the shoot where they had run out of money and we had another week to go.
Definitely some days I thought, why? Why am I doing this? Why have I put this pressure on my family and myself and my husband, and, you know, there's been nights where I'm up all night trying to get things done and I don't have time.
People get very sceptical, you know, in a crew. Are we going to get paid? And they get nervous, you know, they got mortgages to pay and everything else.
Here, Johnny, come out.
There was a lot of anxiety in the McDougall family on that day. Sean was really beautiful, actually. He called a meeting and he was quite emotional. He said, just, you know, we've come this far, we've got, you know, 10 days to go. Please, let's finish the film. We can't pay you this week, but, well, the bank's just promised we'll have the money, you know, in 10 days. If you could just hold on for me. You could see these guys who are really skeptical just drop all of that and just go and give them a hug. Say, no worries, let's finish this. And true to their word, everyone did get paid in the end.
I am so proud of my friend Simon Lyndon, who's directed a really, really beautiful and an important movie called Just a Farmer. I highly, highly recommend that you see it. Si, I'm so proud of you, man.
Do you reckon you can put your arm around your sister?
Today's the day. It's the premiere at the Astor in Melbourne, and I'm pretty nervous. It's finally going out to the world to be seen.
Her performance has been a revelation. It's a serious performance. Anyone who sees it is like, wow, okay.
He was struggling with his mental health and he didn't get help. And he got so sick that he lost himself.
The sensitivity she's got on screen is absolutely exquisite, stunning.
This is the girl that wouldn't have said boo to a goose in earlier days, and here she is starring in a movie. She has come a long, long way.
I think Leila took to acting like a fish does to water. She'd said to me, I feel comfortable. This is one thing that I really feel passionate about. I feel good. I feel like I'm good at it.
Maybe I would like to do some more acting. I really enjoy it. I think now I've probably found a career path that sort of combines all of the things that I've done. Yeah, I think I've found something that really makes me happy.
Do you think you'll make another movie?
Maybe. I've got the bug, I think.
I think you should make a horse movie.
A horse movie.
yeah, absolutely perfect.
With gold pony.
I think there's big things coming for Leila.
Yeah, to the left.
I think we'll see her in more acting roles. She'll be able to sort of pitch ideas to networks and all sorts of things if that's what she wants to do.
I thought you said left.
I think she's going to have many more stories to tell.
She'll come back and do that again.